listening to Inclusive AF with Jackye Clayton and Katee Van Horn.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Inclusive AF podcast. This is Jackye Clayton.
And this is Katee Van Horn, and we are here on this fine Friday afternoon, folks. Friday afternoon. Thank you, Jesus. It's been a week, people. It's been a week, and we got lots to talk about with this guest we have today. So without further ado, we are going to introduce one of our favorites, who also is a podcaster. So Zach, you want to go ahead and tell everyone who you are, all the good stuff?
Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Zach Nunn over Living Corporate. You know what it is? You know what I'm saying? I do this. My name is Zach. No, I'm playing, y'all.
I needed that so bad.
Oh my
I'm gonna start doing that.
You got to just, wake. You got to just kind of get a little jolt of differentiation on the podcast. Let people know as a guest in the room.
There you go.
No. Zach Nunn, based out of Houston, Texas. I'm a bunch of different things: father, husband, son, brother. You know what I'm saying? Entrepreneur, tech executive. I just be moving around. I'm just outside.
Awesome.
Table shaker, agitator, innovator.
We like table shakers and agitators.
All the things.
We might be those ourselves. So
Amen.
Well, we are so glad you're here. We actually have been trying to get this on the books. I know we had to move it a few times, but glad we actually are having this conversation. And so I want to start off with just tell us about the podcast. Tell us a little bit about, what you all do on the Living Corporate podcast. You all know you have two fans sitting here with you, Zach, so just be prepared.
Right. Okay, no.
Fangirling here.
Sure thing. Well, first of all, I'm flattered that y'all listen to Living Corporate. It's interesting, like Living Corporate started as a single podcast, and the vision was for it to be like a monthly podcast by the people that I started it with, and then people drop off. Consistency is a hard thing. That's probably another pound for another day. But point is that I always had a dream that Living Corporate would be like a network, right? And that like Living Corporate itself would air multiple times a week, but there would be other podcasts and other pieces of media that really, again, created a network of media that centers and amplifies Black and brown people at work, right? And so I guess backing up a little bit, my family. So both sides of my family came from Mississippi. Both sets of my grandparents were sharecroppers, picking cotton. And on my mom's side of the family, I'm the first man to start and graduate from a four-year university. My cousin, Chris, is the first man to graduate from college in our family. Period. I'm the first man to start and graduate from a four-year university. And then on my dad's side of the family, I'm a second generation reader, meaning like my dad taught my grandfather how to read, right? And still, like my grandfather is not the best reader. Like my dad and my uncles help him with his contracts. He got into real estate later in life. And so anyway, all of that to say is when I graduated from the University of Houston, I didn't have like this organic network of like neighbors and cousins and uncles to like get me a dope job or like talk to me how to navigate these white majority spaces. I just learned on my own. And I came into the corporate world in the HR function, which is majority white women, very passive aggressive, very toxic, very harmful. Still in therapy, actually. Side note, go to therapy. It's free. Okay, like, therapy is great. Like you should go to it. It's a good thing. All of that being said, like I looked up and I was like, man, like it would be great if I had I was blessed to run into a couple of people that look like me to give me little nuggets of wisdom, but everybody doesn't have that. And my profile isn't that rare. Straight Black man from the South, first generation professional, blah, 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 blah. Like there's millions of people like me in America. So like, what would it look like to democratize, flatten access to these conversations to really navigate these white supremacist majority spaces in a really just, again, free and accessible way? And that's where Living Corporate came from. So again, now I'm back to what I said at the beginning. Started as a single podcast and we've expanded. So we now have several podcasts. We have over 10,000 listeners a week on Living Corporate, the Living Corporate podcast alone. We have web shows and blogs. We've interviewed now we've had over 1,000 pods, over 100 web shows, over 60 blogs, some white papers. We've done some incredible campaigns with Pfizer and LiveRamp and Accenture and other brands, all to just center and amplify Black people at work.
I love it. I was going to tell you, that's why I started listening to it, because, I'm in the startup spaces. So I'm the only, and I've been at places where everybody was the only, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of us are like, have a different story. And so, but like you said, I knew I wasn't the only. And it's not just about, I think we saw, it's a historical week this week, and seeing Ketanji Brown Jackson. But then people are like, oh, is that how they treat like Black women at work? And it's like, y'all didn't know that? This is not,
Yes.
it was not invented this week.
No.
Right? And so it was one of those things where you know how you feel and you know why you're feeling that way. And you're trying to be protective. You want to talk to other people who understand those shared experiences. And so thank you for doing that and opening that up. And I think it's amazing. I've seen the growth has been amazing, and seeing the people and the various hosts and people and it's funny because then you start stalking people. They don't know me. I know them. I can't. I have to prepare now that we're going out of the house again. I have to send, okay, Vonda, you don't know me. I know you.
Yes, shout out to Vonda Page.
If I see you in public, I'll give you a hug. Don't run. This is what I look like.
So funny.
Well,
Yes.
right?
Yes, 100%.
And it was also for me, with Vonda Page, it's the break room, especially starting in going back, knowing that we didn't have, I've worked at home for 10 years, so I've always looked for water cooler conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But then you feel like you have this group of people that you can listen, that understand, and it feels safe. Sometimes with the blog, even with our blog and other blogs, this is the only place where people feel safe. And I know
Right.
you've probably seen that. I'd love to know more about, just because it was such a historical week, and I know we were talking about women and professional women recently throughout Living Corporate as well. I wanted to get your feedback on what you've been seeing, the response within the last 2 days, besides really happy. But some people are breathing. Some
Right.
people are the impact has generational trauma. Of course, I'm watching in that process. So I wanted to get some feedback from you on that.
I mean, first of all, it's just there's so many things you could talk about, right? So I'll start by saying I'm not going to be comprehensive in my analysis. I'll speak to the limited perspective I do have. I'll say that, I get conflicted. When I see events where we're historically white spaces where we've been actively excluded from, finally get an opportunity to get there, and the celebration that goes with that. And I try to be empathetic to the reality of I benefit from the patriarchy as a Black man. So I recognize that, I do suffer under the mantle of white supremacy and patriarchy, but I also benefit from patriarchy still as a man, even though I don't benefit in the same degrees as white or more white adjacent men, right? So it's anyway, that's a separate conversation. The point is that I struggle because I'm looking at, I'm like, okay, this is great. This is great. Full stop. It is great that we have representation of a Black woman in a space who isn't anti-Black, right? Who doesn't hate us, right? We had Thurgood Marshall. I was like, yo, he's you read Thurgood
Right.
Marshall. It's like a bastion of Black, just represent, you talk about someone representing the quote unquote Black community. It's yo, I will take if I have if you doing a pickup game, it's I'm gonna take Thurgood Marshall. You're gonna pick him early. You're gonna pick him, and then of course you're gonna pick MLK. You're gonna pick you're gonna he's up there. And so then to backdoor with with Clarence Thomas, is damn, okay,
Right?
maybe this whole desegregation thing wasn't the best idea. Maybe we shouldn't be up here. Like, you make us look awful. Like, it's crazy. You're taking us back, not Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. You're literally taking us back with the legislation that you champion. So again, Paul Robeson. Paul Robeson is another person I would take in my pickup if I, he's okay. Anyway, the point is, it's great. It's also, I'm conflicted because I'm like, dang, I mean, one, it's such a hyper exclusive space. So it's just like, dang, right? It's just like, okay. And my wife and I have talked about it, right? I have a daughter. She's 2 years old. And, people, and there are people out here like, they don't really necessarily like, they're like, it's great that we have a sister up there. It's great that she isn't like a white supremacist. It's great that she has she's of course she arguably might be the most qualified judge ever. And at the same time, it's like, okay, man, maybe she can create and be the Jackie Robinson to really help open the door for I'm gonna say radical judge, because I want to see radical Black liberation theology holding judges in the Supreme Court. I do. That's what I would love to see, right? And so it's like, man, that's where I'm conflicted. It's like, I want to celebrate. I also want to recognize what it really is in the context of the political power she holds, because of when you think about the balance of the Supreme Court. And then I'll say the other thing to your point is, I watched it. I watched the hearings. It was triggering. It was triggering to watch. Her being talked over and demeaned by people, and her intelligence being questioned by people who don't know what they're doing and don't know what they're talking about. I mean, look, I'm a Black man in tech. I experience this every single day. She said something. She'll say something for 20 minutes. You come back and you ask her a question. It feels like gaslighting. Did you not hear what she said? She already answered your dumbass question 4 or 5 times ago. Had you listened? It's insulting. Shut up, right? If you would just listen. And so that's triggering. I'm low-key triggering myself right now. I think about the idea of so often in those hearings, you heard people just ask questions to confirm their own biases. They weren't asking questions to actually learn or have a conversation or progress anything. They had a whole little game they wanted to play with you by asking you these stupid, inane, asinine, asa 10, asa 11 questions. You know what I mean? And so I just
asa 11.
Asa 11.
I want that on a shirt.
I think you say the last couple of days. I think as I kind of wrap this up, I'll just say my hope is that, to your point, people really grasp that there are Ketanji Brown Jacksons everywhere we work. And we have an opportunity to listen to them, amplify them, respect them, and also just shut the hell up sometimes. You ain't got to talk all the time. You know what I mean? Be quiet. Let them talk. And so, that's my take.
I love that. I think that along with that, what I get really emotional. And just so you know, I'm in Phoenix. Katee is in a different room. I'm at Katee's house this week, and I was bawling, and I could not stop bawling. And I was like, I think I might start crying again. And the big thing that brought to the table really is part of that voice, those voices, and knowing that the voices in the room and how this is the beginning, but then also the reality of what she took on. I think I've always tried to make spaces. You try to make spaces. We know a lot of people that try to make spaces for Black and brown people, but we also know what it's like to be the first and the only. And you're not just accepting the job. You're accepting the threats. You're accepting the hate. This is a lifetime appointment. And I know that this is a big thing, but part of the reason why I wanted to talk about it was because it's a job.
It's a job.
It's a job, and these are their coworkers.
Yes.
And you talk about dealing with conflict.
Yeah.
There's conflict going in.
100%. And it's so interesting because that's often the experience of Black folks who enter in these high-ranking positions. They often inherit a mess, right? When you compare high-ranking Black folks who come into positions compared to white folks in positions, and I think about corporate America, if there's a black person who's coming in as the CEO, like that company is in trouble. They're inheriting a mess. Like, there's a bunch of tension and extra nonsense that they're gonna have to put up with and do. The white folks typically they're set up for success. They have a portfolio, book of business. They got the relationships already handed out. They've been groomed for this for a while. Black folks have to kind of claw and fight and climb and justify to get to inherit a mess, right?
You're making me think of McDonald's. Remember McDonald's when they had the guy come in and it was an absolute mess. There was no way you were going to win. There's no way.
Hey, we're the payroll baddies, and our mission is to make payroll fun and relatable.
And call out industry when they hear it.
You got to call it out. You got to call it like you see it. But we also got to shine a light on all those unsung payroll heroes out there, making sure we get paid.
Yeah, those are the real payroll baddies out there, and we love sharing their stories and showing them love.
With gold chain and everything, baby.
By the way, SAP is the best payroll out there, and if you don't like it,
get out.
Yeah.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
No. There's no. Please don't apologize. No, that's really it. It's just, and you're right. It's a job. And it's interesting. I was reading an article about this was some years ago, but it was like in the Atlantic, and they were just talking about like the dynamics of the Supreme Court, and it's like a lot of people don't realize, like, in a lot of ways, that Supreme Court job, it has the same politics and stuff as any other job, right? Like the need to settle conflict and relationships, and if we know there's a big decision coming up, and there's someone who's going to be the deciding vote or the deciding decision, like how you have to be cool with them, and there's in groups and out groups. There's all of that. Like, it's a job. So I don't have anything to say besides I agree, Jackie. I agree.
And just in case people didn't know, when I was talking about McDonald's, some people may not know this, between 2012 and 2015, Don Thompson was served as the first black president and CEO of McDonald's. 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, anyway, wanted to just bring that up because that's the same thing. You are inheriting a mess, and we've seen it, and we keep seeing it. Even in black spaces, you can see it like at Essence Magazine. It's like, oh, you know what? Let's try something new.
Right.
Because what we're doing is not working.
Right.
And then it is inheriting a mess.
It's a mess. Yeah.
But I think some people don't recognize, like, it was a mess and it was triggering, but it was also like Tuesday.
Right. And that's the other thing. Like, to your point, right? I think, like, black folks are at the bottom. So, like, dysfunction and oppression, harm, confusion, all the other words, like folks being, what's the word? I don't know, like hypocrisy, dealing with, having to guard yourself from exploitation. These are like just common things. These things that go hand in hand with the black experience, not because of your blackness, but because of white supremacy. Right.
Right.
And so, like, you're right. It is just a Tuesday. Like, I mean, I'm thinking about like my days recently. I'm having, it's part of just being alive. Like how much do you have to guard and protect yourself, and like document things and have all the conversation you need to have, and, to survive. Like, that's just, and that's, again, like, that's a function of white supremacy. And yeah, it's often just a Tuesday or any other day that end in Y.
Yep. I think, go ahead, Katie. No, I was just going to say, I think that is something that people don't recognize, that we do have to have those challenges. And I always think it's funny when people are coming out in this space of how people react to either what I posted or something that I said. And, like, oh, is it really like that? And you're like, it's just funny because it's like, I've been black my whole life.
Right.
So I don't know what you're talking about. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember one time somebody had contacted me and they were like, oh, aren't you mad about that panel? It's all white men on that panel. I was like, I'm used to it. Is it bothering you? This is my life. Is it bothering you? Okay, do something about it. No, I didn't notice. I was like, nope, I didn't notice at all.
No.
Right? So, but I think that's why it goes back to why it's important to have those spaces and to have these conversations. And I do think it was a master class of what the things that we have to deal with every day. There is some
Yes.
interesting things. I'll put them in the show notes. They did it. I think it was the New York Times pulled like 5 Black women from Harvard and just got their reactions. And it's amazing. It's amazing to watch. But it does, I just think about, I think part of the reason I was brought to tears was just knowing that when you see it like that space, you can never say, when you grow up Black, and this is for all of the listeners who haven't grown up Black, when you grow up Black, that you know your role in your space, you know your lane. People put you in these lanes, and so you say, I can be this, but I can't be that. I can do this, but I can't do that. And so
Right.
we talk about representation matters, but I think people who are not Black don't understand that you know that you can't be a Supreme Court justice.
Mhm.
Right? Like it was the same thing. Like I'm not going to be able to be president, or I'm not going to be able to be
Mhm.
this or that. And so the part of the tears comes from there will always be that space. And let's say 30, 40 years to all these other little girls that can say, "Oh, that is possible."
Yeah.
Where in we've always thought those things were impossible. And you look at Katanji and the like where she, because we're on a first name basis because we're best friends,
Of course.
and when you see her, we have been part of several transformations. We're nowhere near, but we've lived to see things that we thought would never happen. And so I love to say, my ancestors' wildest dreams, the things that are going on, it would probably seems like a blip, right? But there's like, it
Yes.
is the ancestors' wildest dreams.
It's, and for me, it's like, I remember so I teared up, but I definitely got upset. I remember like just specifically during Ted Cruz's questioning. And then I definitely like remember I had to just like, I stopped watching. There was this clip where he said something like, our baby's racist or something. And she said, Senator, she kind of paused and like looked up.
Big heavy sigh.
Big heavy
Yeah.
sigh. It was just like, what is this? Right? Like there's so much in that sigh of just like what are we actually doing? Like, what kind of game is this? Like, what is this? Like, what are we like? What is like? And so that's where for me, I certainly felt, and again, like there are so many moments of that where I just felt very much so seen, and just felt like a person in arms with her, in just the experience of having to justify your qualifications amongst people who are incompetent, who like, and not to sound like elitist or snobby, but like are not in any position to question her,
No, fully. And I should mention, Zach and I are both Texans.
Yes.
You're outside. Are you in Houston proper or outside? Houston?
I'm in Houston.
So, Katie, being in Arizona, we laugh all the time because there's much drama within our states.
Sure.
And I saw Ted Cruz, and that's the other part where you're like, I can like really be mad at him up there, but he's coming home. Like, ugh. Ugh. That's how I felt when I saw him. I was like, oh my God, you again. When is this gonna be done?
He is the worst. He is the worst. But yeah.
So I'm going to switch gears a bit.
Please.
Who has been your, I won't say favorite because that might not be nice. Who has been your most memorable recent podcast guest?
Okay, most recent. Okay, so the extra qualifier or filter on most recent.
Most recent memorable.
Most recent memorable.
Right? Like
it's tough. No, it's tough. Like straight up, like you think about like all of the guests. Like I am trying to think about like who I wanna say in this moment.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll say that I had a conversation recently, and it hasn't been published yet. But with Michelle Kim. Michelle Kim, who is she's an author. She's also the founder of Awaken Co. An incredible person. And what I appreciate so often, I come into these conversations oftentimes really exhausted, like mentally and spiritually, because again, like I am also like in these, I'm also in these systems that I talk about, that drain me and by some degree exploit me. And so it's encouraging when I can have conversations that feel gentle, that feel gracious to me and caring to me. Like that, those always, like, I always walk away just feeling like, dang, I really appreciated, like, I really appreciated that. Like, it was like, it's an extended part of my therapy. And so I'll say that, you know, that's the one that I will say is most memorable, that is very recent. As I think about, you know, our conversation, we actually covered a lot of ground, but we talked a lot about just like internalized oppression. We talked about like just this current climate of diversity, equity, inclusion. And we talked about what does meaningful impact look like, to really create equity in the workplace. And so it was just a dope discussion. And I really I'm a Michelle fan. Like, I like her as a person.
Yes, I do as well. She is amazing. No, that I'm excited to hear that one then. She's just great. And every time I've heard her speak, obviously her book was phenomenal. And she is, I love the way you describe that. Just like you come out of the conversation, you like, oh, I'm smarter, I'm better, I feel good, everything's good. Like, that's just, those are the type of people you want to chat with a lot. What's coming up for you? What's on your radar? What's coming up for you that we should know about, that our listeners should know about?
Yeah, you know what? I think we're getting close. So I think I can talk about it a little bit more. And when is this going live? When is it getting published?
3-ish weeks from now.
Oh, great. Okay, cool. So
you're not going to release any proprietary information.
No.
Actually, tomorrow, Zach. No. What stuff should we be buying? Let us know.
Oh my God. So I'm excited about the fact that Living Corporate is, we're actually, you know, and this has been going on for a while. Like, we've been talking about, okay, we have this library of content, right? Like, and I'll say, like, and I say this like I say this not like looking to puff up my chest or pick a fight, but I will box if I need to, is I don't know there's another platform that has as deep a catalog of content focused on centering and amplifying historically excluded groups that we do. And that has so many brands talking on the record about their own challenges and how what we need to be doing, right, to like really do something different and better. And so the question I've continued to ask myself and ask our team is like, what does it look like to just optimize this content, right? Like, I don't know if everyone knows that we have a conversation with Michael C. Bush, who's the CEO of Great Place to Work, and we talked about the role that data is going to play in the next decade around DEI. I don't know if everyone knows we had a conversation with Nicole Hannah-Jones and talked about like her own journey and attacks from all these incompetent white men. I don't know if people know about these conversations we've had over the past 4 years. And like, you know, you talk about we've been doing this for 4 years, and we drop content damn near every day across a myriad of media channels in our network. And so I don't think it's even fair to expect everyone to catch everything because there's so much stuff. And so anyway, I've just been continually challenging like myself and our team think about what does it look like to like bring that content to the forefront, because so much of this content is evergreen. Like, it just hasn't really aged poorly or aged at all. And so what I'm excited about, what's coming up, what's next for me is, and what's next for Living Corporate is, we're actually going through a complete website redesign where you're going to log on to Living Corporate. You're going to be encouraged to create a profile where you select content and topics that you're really interested in. And then you're going to get a personalized, curated experience where we push content to you from our library. And I'm really excited about that. And we're going to have a job board where we work with brands to post their jobs on our job board to encourage and really push those opportunities to Black and brown folks, historically excluded folks. And so those, like that work, and just the work I've been doing with our web design studio to like really bring this to life, I'm really excited about that. And I'm so excited about what that's going to mean for our audience, because
Yes.
like I think there's going to be people who've listened to Living Corporate for years and who are going to be like, yo, I didn't even catch this episode.
Mhm.
So
Well, I have been kind of scrolling through, and I one of your earlier interviews was with Aubrey Blanche,
oh yeah,
who you
Yeah.
know is a friend of ours, but it looks like you just interviewed her again very recently.
mm-hmm.
And so I had not listened to that one, so I'm
See?
putting that on my list. But it's
See?
a good point. Yeah, I mean, and she's someone also that you can sit for hours and just learn as you're just listening on. Go tell us all the things.
And that's what I mean. And it's like, and here's the thing, like it's interesting, like because podcasts, y'all know the game is like so many people like they judge their podcasts or their data by like how many listeners they get
That's
like
right.
per episode, right? Or like, oh, they drop an episode a week, and so it's like, oh, hey, we got so many listeners, like dope downloads, whatever, this week. And like, typically on your average podcast, your podcast is not living for years. Like you post it that week, and then you post the next episode, and that's it. Like for
Right.
Living Corporate though, like I'm looking at our data, people are still downloading content from like years ago, right?
Yes.
Like, so people are treating Living Corporate like a learning library. And so it's like, okay, how do we optimize and maximize that? And so to your point, Katie, like in the future, you're going to go to Living Corporate's website, you're going to be, oh, snap, and you're going to be able to click a button and add it to your playlist on your profile, right? So you can listen to it and check it out later. Like, so it's just going to be a much more interactive and communal experience. And so I'm really excited about it. Yes, shout out to Aubrey. I'm a huge fan. She comes on and talks about, her job and the role of data and DEI. And yes, I love how she keeps it real. She's a bit of a provocateur, table shaker like us.
Mhm.
And I love that.
I love that too. I mean, I have gotten to the point where I like LinkedIn. I've spent most of my time there since my last job transition. So I get all of my access, like all of my access to everything is there. But you're right. And this is something that we talk about in my workspace where like when you're helping people, a lot of times they can see one episode, right? They get excited, but it leads to something else. And so I'm glad that you're saying about signing up and having that like curated experience, because if you are interested in this, these are some other episodes, blog posts, whatever that you might be interested in. And I also think that it's good to have those multiple voices. I know for like Katie and I are not afraid to have difficult conversations, but I know some people are looking for specifically, they want to know how to navigate within the space because they want to do something and don't know what to do, and so
Right.
they latch on to one episode versus the other.
Right. And I think that's the other thing too, is like, when you talk about even our content now, I'm gonna say this, Living Corporate really doesn't create content like that. We literally I literally will go on Living Corporate and I'll say things to make sure that you're not comfortable. Like, so like, as an example, like I've said, that white folks made crack and unconscious bias in the same lab, right? Like, it's like, I'll say things like on purpose to make sure that you're never hyper comfortable, because we literally make content that centers and amplifies historically excluded people. We're not out here trying to make content to keep white people comfortable. But to that end, we also do have content that's focused on growing as an ally. Really, what does an ally really mean? Decentering yourself as a majority person, power sharing, sponsorship versus mentorship, and all those different things. So we've curated our content in a way for you to, get an experience that you might be looking for, while also recognizing that we don't pull punches in the content that we create.
This is William Tincup, and I'd like to direct you to a wonderful limited series podcast that Ryan and I recorded live at the ERE Recruiting Innovation Summit. We sat down with 20 recruiting and TA leaders from around the world to hear what today's best recruiters are doing to stay sharp, stay relevant, and stay ahead. It's called The Talent Shift. You'll love it. You'll find the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Listen, like, review, share. Do you?
Well, and I don't think I mean comfortable when I say that. I'm just saying it sticks out, right?
100%. No, yeah, absolutely. I got you.
And so if this is interesting, then this should be interesting, and this should
Yeah.
be interesting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think
100%.
sometimes being here, I do think sometimes we have those real conversations. And so some people are like, well, how do you have those real conversations?
Mm.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's like I don't like. Life is so short. Like I have a child. Like I said, I have a 2-year-old, and like there's nothing that just reminds you that you're gonna die than like having a kid. And so like my time is valuable. Like is why I say that. Like I value my time. It's like I'm not gonna be up here talking about some little hoity-toity bullshit with you. Like if we're gonna have a conversation about my experience and like how things need to improve and be better, then like we're gonna have that conversation. And if we're not gonna talk about it in an authentic way or in a way that honors my own values and who I am as a person, then we're just not going to have the conversation. Like, what's the point? Like, you can go anywhere. You can go like, that's the whole, the other thing about it is like this, it's so noisy right now. Like since George Floyd was murdered in 20, there's so many people out there trying to have the conversation, expand the dialogue or whatever the case is. It's like, yo, you can go if I'm comfortable knowing that living corporate's content is not going to be for everybody. Right. Mm-hmm. Like, so you're free to go listen to like some really pleasant conversations spoken like at an NPR tone like this. The doctor of sociology at Cambridge. Like you can go do that. Like that's not us. And I'm not going to waste my time doing that.
You're right. And that's, I will say, I think that's part of the narrative that we've seen that space going up too. A lot of people trying to have difficult conversations, but then we've also seen a lot of pieces of self-care, how to advocate for yourself, or having understanding like racial trauma, understanding different things and various products where other people didn't recognize it. Because one of the things that happened to me, and I think this was before George Floyd, but because we're in the HR space, right? So I'm trying to explain to somebody, we were talking about, they were asking me, specifically about work. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait, in the middle of a live show, I was like, I'm not talking anymore to explain how white people can deal with black people. Like this is the last time. And she goes, because she was like, do you have anything to say? And it hit me. I was like, no, I just want to talk to the black and brown people that are listening right now. Like you're enough. And if anybody's having this conversation and feel like this is necessary to move forward, you need to leave. Right.
100%. I mean, it's so funny because like I've gone on different platforms and I've said this before. It's like, white people, we don't need your advice. Like we need your things. Like, we don't like, and it was like, well, what do you mean? It's like, I need your things. Like I need your money. I need your access. I need your social networks. I don't actually need you to tell me how to be better. Like that whole narrative is like white supremacist, right? It's like, oh man, like it's so insidious because like so many of these DEI narratives, corporate and otherwise, are like, hey, white people, let me teach you how to be an ally so you can go fix black people. And it's like, no, that's not what it is. Like black people don't need to be fixed. Like we've been navigating and surviving in this world and thriving for hundreds of years, right? In spite of blatant abuse, blatant exploitation, explicit oppression, and non-explicit oppression, disparate impact all over the place, right? Legislative impact, all kinds of things that have been happening to us. So we don't actually need that. It's insulting and it's racist, right? Mm-hmm. And so like what we do need is for white folks to just share your stuff. The stuff that you shouldn't even have. Give it back and share it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do. Like my daughter was here. My daughter was no, it's okay. Is it me? Did I do something?
No.
Okay.
And maybe it'll be after hours. I know Katie knows
it's true.
Where my brain's going.
No, you're speaking truth, and that's why we're chuckling, because it's like, exactly that.
Well, so my quick story is like, so my daughter, again, she's 2. She has cousins, and 2 of them came over. They're both boys, super cute, super fun, and they are boys. They be jumping around, they playing on stuff. And Emery right now is an only child, so she shares at daycare. But at home, she's kind of like, well, yo, this is my, and so they came over and there's tons of toys. Like there's toys, like we have so many toys, and she just couldn't get over seeing her cousins play with toys that she's only used to playing with, right? She just couldn't deal with it. So at a certain point, it was like she was trying to take the toys, and they were like, okay, because they know how to share, because they deal with each other all day, every day. So they hand Emery the toys. So now Emery has a bunch of toys in her hand, just like walking around with a bunch of toys. And I'm like, Emery, you can't even play with all these toys. Like, give the block back, give the train back, let them play, right? Now, and like, again, a silly analogy, but like, that's how it feels sometimes. Like, you see white folks, like, they just have so much stuff. And it's like, you wouldn't even miss it if it was gone. Like, stop. And, and it's like, and like with my daughter, it's like, it's not that you need to teach. No, they know how to play with the toys. Just let them play with it, right? And that's the thing, is like, that's how it feels sometimes, like on this playground of life or equity or whatever. I don't know where I'm at with this metaphor at this point, but it's just like, just let us play, like leave us alone, right? Give us the things about the way. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just want to, no, it just made me think, because I have 2 adults, right? One's 19, one's 21.
Yeah.
And I, hot take, I told my kids not to share.
Yeah.
You can have it when they're done.
Mm-hmm.
Don't steal my kids' joy because you want something and now I'm supposed to give it to you and drop it because you asked.
That's fair.
I will give it to you when I'm ready to give it to you because it's mine. Period.
And that's
you do
fair.
not have to give it away. Just because of that same mindset. Granted, now that they're 21, maybe I pushed it a little too much. But
no, there's value in that.
With 3 roommates, but the big thing is always being able to find your voice, to be able to advocate for yourself and speak, have your voice and be clear on how you're feeling, because people are confused. Sharing is very confusing concept.
It is a confusing concept. I think my pain point is, it's not that they were, and like, just to close this up, is they weren't asking for toys that Emery was playing with. They were trying to play with toys that were like that were Emery wasn't even thinking about, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, Emery, you weren't even touching the toy. This is an issue of you sharing. Just back up. Like, come on, you were playing with like 5 different toys. There's 80 different toys over here. They're gonna choose a couple. Like, you know what I mean? So anyway,
I do. It makes me laugh. And especially makes me laugh. I think it's adorable listening to you talk about Emery. I think that's adorable and sweet. And like I said, I have 2 adults, and so we're gonna do a recap. We'll do a recap.
Oh man, I look forward to that.
It is amazing watching
it.
them go through all this. My oldest is about to go take a job in New York City. I think I say it on every podcast now because they're going to be moving in July. So,
congratulations!
And it's like, oh my gosh, I think we kind of did it. Like, I think, okay.
Yeah.
Now what are we going to do? I don't know. Learn how to quilt or something.
Oh man. It's interesting you say that. Like, I drop Emery off at daycare and she'll, she just walks off, like, and she'll walk, like, we'll walk inside and then she'll walk into the little room.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes me sad. I'm like, dang, we're gonna be doing this for like eventually, like, you're gonna walk and you're gonna be like gone, so.
But they're never really gone. P.S. We'll have that conversation later.
I'm honestly, I welcome that at this point because it's sad. So.
Okay, my friend.
All right. So this is the part of the podcast where we talk about what is the one thing you want folks to take away, to make note of, to hear from this podcast. Jackye,
Yo, white.
Next, so make sure you're going.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Zach. Back to you.
White people, give me your things. That's what I want you to take away.
Okay. All right. White people giving Zach the things. Perfect.
Yes.
Jackye,
save some for me. Save some things for me. The other thing that I want,
sharing is caring. Maybe
sharing is caring.
This is where the sharing comes in between the 2 of you.
I want people to say, I want to say something that I've said in the past. Like, we've seen this narrative, bring your whole self to work. Bringing my whole self isn't safe. And it makes me go back to thinking about having that narrative of what diversity looks like. It's only going to be, the environment, I need to be able to be safe to be myself. It's not about you. I'm going through something too through this process. I've been Black my whole life. before all of this happened, before people decided to teach these classes, there's different situations that we're going through, and you have to be there to nurture everyone at work. And until you can nurture everyone at work, don't ask people to bring their whole self, because you're not ready, you're not prepared, and you're creating more toxic environments. That's what that got me thinking, because that, I mean, that is the worst piece, and that's why I decided to like get back in this work, because you touch more people to be able to help move it forward when you have a real narrative. I think that was like 34 things, but that was the thing that stood out for me, just that thought process. 37. Thanks.
37. Thank you. 37 things. I'm going to go back to something you mentioned about, white people listening to the Living Corporate podcast, as I do consider myself white some days. Although right now we're in Arizona getting tan. So there's that. No. So being uncomfortable is okay. And it, like, I think that's the piece that white people shy away from, that discomfort, and they shy away from the listening to voices that are not Eurocentric, patriarchy, whatever you want to call it. And we need to start listening to those voices, and we need to be okay with being uncomfortable. I think that's a piece that like just continues to resonate as we're having these conversations, is we've caused discomfort for so many, and we're allowed to be uncomfortable too. So yeah, Zach, thank you very much for joining us. We truly appreciate it. And for the audience, if you are not subscribed to the Living Corporate podcast, go do that right now and go listen to all the things. This is Katee Van Horn.
And this is Jackye Clayton.
And this is the Inclusive AF podcast. Bye.
Bye.